Most people invoke the Fifth when they have criminal liability. And, that's what it would appear on the surface here.
It's kind of astounding to hear someone say, if you invoke the Fifth Amendment, that is only because you are guilty. We have a constitutional right that anyone who may be under fire can invoke.
The doctor responsible for treating former President Biden is being questioned over the former leader's health while in office. Tensions now growing after that doctor that treated President Biden pleaded the Fifth during a closed-door questioning.
Chief Legal Analyst Khalif Rhodes joining us this morning. Khalif, always a pleasure to have you on. We have heard numerous times over the years, over the decades, some people plead the Fifth once, some will do it 100 times. Do you always have to comply? Like, when is the right time to plead the Fifth? When should you not plead the Fifth?
Julian, let Jason know I plead the Fifth. No, but
yeah, no, not today. You can't.
All jokes aside, man, this is something where you can do it as many times as you want. The Supreme Court has overemphasized, and I have to say this, overemphasized it. One of the Fifth Amendment's basic principles and functions is to protect innocent men who otherwise may be ensnared by ambitious circumstances. This is the same situation right here where you are caught in the middle of where people were already believing that President Biden had some diminished capacity at the time and that there was some cover-up that was involved with not just him, his aides, and his doctor. And so if you're asking questions, did you believe, did you know, were you ever asked to lie? Well, first of all, I don't want to add speculation or pour fire or any type of gasoline on this already fire that's brewing. But then on the other portion, he has ethical obligations. Attorneys and doctors share that same ethical requirement that regardless of how I feel about a client, I can't divulge information that I have learned in that confidential communication. Why? Because we want people to speak openly and freely during that process. So just like in a doctor situation, you want to be able to tell your doctor everything. You don't want a doctor to say, well, if I ask you this question 10 years later, I may be pulled in front of some House committee and I have to tell them that you told me about, peeing on yourself or something. Those are the types of things that you don't want to have happen. And it's the same situation for me. If a client tells me something, I can't say, wow, that was funny. Let me write that down for my novel that I'm going to come out with years later. It's the same approach where you have to make sure that you protect that. It's probably one of the most sacred things in our two professions, that client, they are trusting you in probably their worst moment in their life. For me, I'm stopping someone from going to prison. For the doctor, he's helping someone ensure that they don't die most of the time. And so that's a problem where you don't want to say, do I want to balance my health care versus my protections in the future? Well,
that was the question I was going to ask about that patient doctor privilege there. Is there anything that Congress can do, though, to compel the doctor to testify in this case because it's of national interest?
Cannot be compelled.
Okay.
This is extremely protected. I know I've said this a lot of times here, folks. If the Supreme Court touched this and they were like, no, you are forced to testify, I would probably stop practicing law. That's how confused I would be to see this Supreme Court or any court say, you know what, you are mandatory. You have to oblige by, us telling you that this privilege, because I can't even revoke the privilege. If me and Julian had an attorney-client privilege, I can't say, you know what, Julian, thanks for wanting that privilege to still be there. I'm going to now remove the privilege and start speaking. The owner of the privilege is the client. So he would have to give me authority to say, you know what, go ahead and talk. You can divulge it now. So President Biden is the only person on the planet that could authorize his doctor to talk about confidential information that the doctor learned about during the course of their relationship. It can't be some other third party. It can't be forced. It's some circumstances where on the criminal component where you're attempting to prevent a crime, but it's future crimes. It's not current things. And if it's something that was already done in the past, even if it's to prevent a crime, I couldn't divulge it. So in this situation, there's no court, there's no Congress, there's nothing that could stop or force a doctor to violate the sacred ethical obligation that they have.
Khalif, let's flip the script a little bit. Say Dr. O'Connor had violated that privilege, and he spoke about President Biden's condition during his time in office. What type of trouble would that put him in for speaking about something that the president may not have given him permission to speak about?
I mean, he just didn't want to practice law. I mean, medicine anymore. He just decided, you know what, I want to hang it up, and I do not want to have clients come into my office and trust me with their medical situations. I mean, that's the only scenario, because his license would evaporate instantly, quicker than Thanos snapped his finger. That's how fast he'd lose his ability to practice law, and then it would erode the client-patient trust going forward. And so, not just to him, it would have a chilling effect to all clients, to all doctors. Like if you have the president, the most powerful person on the planet, and his doctor can't even keep that trust. How can I trust that me, random citizen, when I go to my doctor, that they're going to keep my information private? And so that's why you have these ethical responsibilities in the situations like this when it should be tested. I think the most recent one that I can remember in the legal profession, 2 attorneys, a guy confessed to a murder to them, and they could not release it. Even after he died, the court tried to force him. The family tried to force him. And then he gave a note to them and gave permission for them to do it after he died, a few years later. Those are the types of things, how folks will go to their graves, attorneys and doctors, with protecting their clients, because that's what we have to do. That is our job.
All right, Khalif, yeah, good stuff. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. We got, Khalif, a couple of different topics throughout the morning.
Queen City News Plus. Just search Queen City News on your smart TV's app store.